So when we connect the lines, we have this kind of pattern. It's a little bit more interesting, but then we have this extra space that is useful for the house walls. Now we can just pass very firmly with the pen, marking beautifully the grid on the floor. Next step is to choose what kind of decoration we need on the floor. The easiest way is to just have some aluminum foil technique. And so we just press randomly on the floor, and this creates a beautiful texture, you see? One of my favorite is this one. I just take the tile and I cut a third like that, then a third like that, then half like that, and then half like that. And there we have it, the foundation of our house. There are other ways to create floors for your house, wood, decoration, Celtic runes, stuff like that, okay? I want to be perfectly honest, guys. There are a lot of techniques for doing walls, and my style is always to find the beautiful but also the faster way to get to the end and have the results and have the job done. You need to consider this, what you are gonna play on this kind of terrain building. Actually, you have a couple of dimensions in wargaming, skirmish games, and also in D&D. Now, these are like 28mm scale minis. These are not Warhammer minis. If I show you, for example, this Skeleton King, this is a Warhammer one. Okay, and as you can see, it's basically the same. So it's good. It's good. It's the same scale. I want to show you one of my HeroQuest minis. This is the Monk. As you can see, we are speaking about the same scale, guys. So this is the major part of the minis that we're actually using. But nonetheless, this is very important. So you need to consider what kind of minis you are using in your terrain. This is a big door of a Warhammer Fortress. Okay, now if you look at the height of the door, of the wood of the door, basically this door is more or less about 2 meters. Okay, not more than that. So in my opinion, doors are the best reference for your building. If we need to have a 2 floors building, the first one, the first floor, should be not taller than 1 door. Our walls, they need to be just tall like this. This is just for a reference, so we will have at maximum 2 inches building. I prefer, for simplicity, having 2 inches tall first floor. in stones. Okay? Regarding the door, we don't make openable doors. It's quite useless, of course. So we don't need to add holes in this side of the house. On the back, I'm planning to create a chimney, so also no windows, no holes. But on the two sides, I will create at least 1 or 2 windows. Pretty neat. Now we have all the pieces that we need as support for our walls. The first floor of the house is very interesting because we are speaking about the timbered houses technique. This was a beautiful technique that during the medieval ages people used for creating more floors, resistant floors. Basically, they started with some bricks in the first floor. When they tried to, go to the upper part, they realized that they need lighter materials, such wood. And then with the grout, they create this insulation for the, winter and cold. Also during the summer, it's useful because it's insulating from the heat. We are now at the first floor of the fantasy house. We need a floor, actually. We are gonna create a wooden floor with a very simple and fast technique. And then this house will not have any playable walls around the floors. So basically all the structure of the first floor will be just an external part. This is perfect for the grout effect. This will be another effect that we will use on this house. It's a little bit different, much different from the liquid grout that we create on the other model. Also, it's very difficult if you cannot cut thin slices, okay? I'm doing it on the Proxon, so for me it will be very easy. You can also check my tutorial on how to cut thin slices of foam without a Proxon, just with an arch cutter. Yeah. Our house is a good point now. The main structure is ready, but this is the moment when you need to push it. You need to fight against the laziness, because the detailing is the key of the most beautiful projects. Sometimes when I don't have inspiration for build stuff, I just come here in the lab and I just do this boring stuff that just keep my mind totally relaxed. And yeah, maybe I listen to the music, I watch some movie, and in this way I don't waste time, because inspiration will come maybe the day after, stuff like that. But in that moment I'm just preparing materials for the next project. Detailing the roof is very important. One of the best way is to leave here and there some cracks and some holes in the shingles so you can see through them the underneath roof. Other details can be, the door itself, but other details like leftovers from other kits or little beads and bits from your old collection can come at hand when you need to detail your piece. So today we are concluding this part of detailing, and then finally we are ready for the priming and painting this beautiful medieval fantasy house. Crack on! There are hundreds of techniques to create a door. You can use several materials. You can use wood, you can use plastic, you can create some resin casting, but also you can use XPS foam. XPS foam provided a fantastic texture with the technique that we already see for the wood. But then we need several materials to add to the door for create the details. Some cheap jewelry. You see these? These are earrings. The advantage with earrings is that they have a pin, so you can put them very easily inside the foam. Not so easy in the wood, okay? Now with the Proxon, I'm just gonna cut half of this dimension, okay? Let's take off the reinforcement because of the thickness, and we now choose to use an XPS foam door. Now that it's dry, we can also cut off the excess on the roof carefully, but without any problem because it's perfectly dry. Today we are gonna finish the paint of our house, and actually this is quite an interesting chapter because priming and painting make the difference in the final results. Priming is a crucial step before painting because you can immediately give a particular accent to your piece. We are gonna choose the black paint, like for the dungeon in this case. After we finish with the Mod Podge and with acrylic paint, it can also be noticed that with the hand priming you can miss some spot. At the end of abundant priming with this protective layer, you can also finish your piece with some normal spray paint. Your foam is not gonna melt. Let's crack on. Usually I start with water and I just use an abundant quantity. The piece is not very big, so we don't need a lot of stuff. Black paint, a lot of that. And PVA glue or Mod Podge, not so much. Usually when you use glue or Mod Podge with your brushes, it's better to use an old brush. We mix. You see, it's more like a wash. Since it's very liquid, it will enter in every cracks, in every, holes and stuff. So we are sure to cover all the piece. think this is it. Now guys, I want to clean the table. Okay. This paint is sticky. For this reason, we need to let them dry, detached from the surface of the table. For this reason, we can use pins like legs on the piece. So the piece is detached from the ground. With the magic of the technique, for you will be just a second, for me will be at least 24 hours from now. I will wait 24, 48 hours and then I will paint this beauty. See you in a bit. Yes, here we are. Some paints, gloves. Welcome back. As you can see from the setting, I have changed something. I realized that this stuff was in front of my face too late, so half video was totally wasted. Now, after 24 hours, primer is dried, so we can remove the pins. This is very, very sticky. As you can notice, we have some spots that are still a little bit clear, but it's not so bad. We did a great job, actually. And the sensation is how this is much harder. My technique in this case is a semi-wet technique for for mixing the color, but mostly it's a dry technique. So dry brushes, a go. If we want to make the brown lighter, we are not using white, we are using yellow. The brown is my favorite because if you look at the piece right now, basically it seems already beautiful. Look at that. Let's have a closer look. It seems tabletop ready, you see? Nice. I have a soft point for the blue roof, guys. Fantasy blue roof are the best for me. I like them very much. A little bit more. Yeah, what about that? For me, priming is different than base coating. Basically, priming attach your varnish to the piece, and the base coating prepare your piece for the paint. This is, in my idea, what is about. Today, we are actually going very deeply into the painting of the house, and at the end, there will be also flocking and adding details that actually is something that can sell the piece at some higher level. Crack on. It's all a matter of layers, guys. How deep you want to go further in the shading, and layer by layer we will build up the color. We're gonna use this fat brush for dry brushing, and we proceed in circles like that. We are doing first the stucco because, as you can see, it's very easy to hit the wood. We will fix that, okay? Don't worry. Now look at the difference. This side is done and this one is not. Let's correct the mistakes. I want to exaggerate on purpose so you can see that I can correct with the wash. Now look at the difference between the finished one and the not finished. And also you can look at the colors that are underneath, and they are just popping out a little bit. Yeah, like that. Now for all the wood, I'm using another color that is this beige, is a warm gray actually. And I'm gonna use the paper, some absorbent paper technique. Very few color, very few guys. The paper will take off all the moisture from the varnish very, very easily. So we will reach the perfect dry point very, very soon. And I like to use this warm gray because with the wood makes a big difference and transform basically the wood in a way that seems very, very old, very, very used. I know it seems too much clear, but then we will go with the washes, so you will see. You know, I have a soft point for blue roofs. So this was the base coat, dark blue. We need a couple of more light blue. We're gonna use this one that is a lighter blue. So let's go. Now, with the same blue, I'm adding a lot of white, okay? And once again, we are creating a very, 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 very light blue. You see? This is like azur en français. It's celeste in Italiano. Okay. So now, we go very lightly. Always top down, but just one pass, you see? Yeah, this is it. Now we need to let it dry very carefully before go with the washes, because washes with the water can reactivate very easily the paint. So we need to wait 2-3 hours before we can go with the aging and with the washes. See you in a bit. Okay guys, washes. We are gonna use a little bit of water, of course, clean water, guys. A little bit of black and dark brown. We are just using acrylics. You can also add a little bit of dishes soap. The first is a brown wash, and we are gonna apply the wash. Basically, we're gonna apply the wash on all the wood, all the stucco, and then we are gonna remove the wash from the walls thanks to some absorbent paper. And now with the paper, we just dab in the middle, like so. You see? We immediately remove the paint. So let's go with the other parts. So again, let's put a lot of wash, brown wash, all over the piece. Don't miss any spot. Okay, nice. Let's go with the sides. Definitely beautiful, the effect, guys. The second wash is gonna be green, guys, and we are just dabbing the green wash in some spots where we think there's gonna be some humidity and moisture, you know. So I'm just using a sponge, you see. I dip the sponge. You can check first on some like in the floor. So you see, and I just dab a little bit of this green in some spot. Let's use it a little bit. Oh, this is a perfect corner, you see, this way, bit of green, nice, also here. Now we are gonna basically simulate the raindrops, like so. This is not, this is not very simple to do. I prefer to start all the time from the top, and I go just down a little bit, following the stones and stuff like that. With lines, basically. Lines that go down on the wall, like so, see? It's just an extra touch, but it helps to sell the piece. I like to accentuate the damage on the roof, so this is gonna be massively washed. This is it for the washes. Now guys, just few details with the normal paint. I'm using a silver paint now. Let's start with the edge, with the handle here. Like so, and the mechanism here. And let's go to the door. Here. With a bit the handle metal. Like so. Okay. And we can also go on the windows. Now we need to wait till tomorrow because the washes are very slow to dry, of course. And tomorrow we are gonna do the final part, which is the flocking. See you in a bit. Flocking, guys, is a beautiful way to sell the piece, to give the piece some reality and to, break the monotony of just the paint. Flocking very depends by your arsenal. I suggest you to never stop to collect, flocking details and stuff. The concept that is very important, guys, is that this is not a collection that started from yesterday. This is a years long collection, and actually I have supplies for decades from now. The point for me is that you must have the biggest collection possible just for add realism to your terrain. But if you need some simple flocking, I suggest you to have just few static grass, a couple of colors of that, few tufts, and it's more than enough for begin. Now let's go to the crafting table. Oh yes, I'm gonna show you few techniques for a base flocking for improve the beauty of your piece. I prefer not to exceed in something like that because when you put greenery, actually you are adding a lot of decadence to the piece. So the more green you put, the more abandoned the place will seem. So for example, we are gonna put some moss here, and your best friend is PVA glue, guys. The fastest way is to take a little bit of glue, like so, okay, and maybe also here, I don't know, not so much, not too much, and also where, maybe here. And then, once again, the secret is layering. I prefer to start with some dead grass, static grass. But the trick is not to press it, just to dab it and let the glue catch the grass for you. Now we are not dabbing, we are sprinkling a little bit on the glue that we put until we cover it, okay? We just touch it very delicately with our fingers, So once again, I'm gonna dab static grass. So I take more than what I need and I just dab and I let the glue catch the grass for me. Quite brilliant. So we can also use more dark green. Usually it's a mess, guys, when you do this. It's better to have some support. So remember, this is a two, three-step kind of flocking. We are layering some static grass, couple of colors of that, and then we add dimension with the spongy powder, spongy grass, okay? And let's sprinkle a little bit of this. That is actually my favorite. You see how it's beautiful? Let's press it a little bit and let's recover it for later. And now we can use this as a base. Once again, I like to add some differentiation in color with some sprinkle like that. Now let's see the final results. Thanks for watching, thanks for being such a beautiful community, and till next time, happy crafting!